What's up, YouTube? Today I'm talking to you about 5 writing tips that I like to use in my everyday life. These tips, they don't always pertain to actually writing. They're just tips I use throughout the day to get myself to write more. Let's jump right in. Tip number 1. I like to do something every day towards my writing. That doesn't necessarily mean that I am writing every day. As much as I really want it to, it doesn't happen. Busy mama too, writing every day, especially on weekends or when the kids are homesick or if there's a snow day like we've had 4 of this year. Writing every day just does not happen. But there's something every day that I can do to further my writing, whether it's daydreaming about my plot, thinking about the scenes that come next, maybe just jotting a few notes on some red herrings that I've thought of or a blog post, just something every day to think about my work in progress. And that helps keep your mind in your story and excited about getting to sit down again and get to writing. Tip number 2, do not stop reading. Even if you have a really hard time getting a few moments to yourself to write, you also do not want to stop reading. I know it's hard, I get it, but you have to keep reading as well. I have a hard time reading fiction when I'm also writing fiction. And a lot of times when I go on my reading binges, if you saw like back at the beginning of the year, in January and February combined, I read 32 books. But if you go back and look at my writing days, I wrote almost nothing. I could not focus on 2 stories going on in my mind at once, whether it was a story I am reading or a story I was writing. It helped. I did a lot of editing in those days because those stories were already there on paper, but I didn't do a lot of drafting. Now I'm having a lot of productive writing days, but I am not reading as much. So I've been trying to read more craft books on writing, books like Write Your Novel from the Middle by James Scott Bell, books on TED Talks and public speaking, because this is not natural for me at all. So I'm reading a lot more nonfiction now than fiction altogether. But the key is not to stop reading, because you never know where you're going to find inspiration from, and you don't want to get stale, I guess is the best way to put it. Tip number 3, exercise. I hate exercising. I don't like spending time on it. I don't like anything to do with it. I have found some things that I do like, but in general, I do not like to exercise. But for writing, I find it's a necessity. On days that I have exercised, or if I get a run in after the kids get in bed one night, the next day I am so much more productive. The blood's just flowing better. I can stay more focused. If I go a few days or a few weeks without getting any sort of movement in, I am just blah. I am not functioning at my highest potential. I have found that I can do a few things to kind of help with that besides running, which, believe it or not, I actually do kind of like running. But first thing in the morning for my miracle mornings, for exercise, I have found Tai Chi and yoga, and that I love. So it really kind of helps get the energy going. Tip number 4, scheduling. And this might be part of me being a planner, but blocking off the time, calendar blocking, just, putting those dates in there with myself, saying I am going to write from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and that is that. I am going to sit down and I am working on my novel right then. Is really helpful. Make appointments with yourself. Put them in your calendar, put them on Google or iCalendar or whatever you use to schedule your appointments and to remind yourself of your appointments, and keep to them. It is a huge help just to say, I have this appointment, I can't move it, I am writing right now. Even if it's a 5-minute appointment, say, I've only got these 5 minutes today, but I'm going to schedule it. They are mine. They are for my novel. My last tip number 5, writing sprints. I love writing sprints. Now, if you haven't heard about writing sprints, there are these writing times that you can set up for yourself. I think they're also called like word wars. You set a timer for a set amount of time, and this is a little different from the scheduling because scheduling's like, tomorrow I have an hour here and I'm going to use that for writing. Now it's tomorrow and I need to sit down. That's where I set a timer for like 20 minutes. Or if I'm really having a hard time getting into it, I will set my timer for like 5 minutes. I'm like, just 5 minutes, just get it done. It's nothing. I'm gonna write for 5 minutes and then I can have a 5-minute break. So I do the 5 minutes and I get my 5-minute break. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do a 10-minute sprint now. And I'm gonna write for 10 minutes and then I can have another break. And I can surf Twitter for a few minutes, or I can get up and go get a new coffee or something like that. You just keep it simple and keep going. You do that, and then every third or fourth break you want to take a slightly longer break. I think originally from the Pomodoro concept, but it's an amazing tool to use, and I highly suggest using that for your writing if you're a writer that has trouble focusing when you sit down to write. Anyway, those were my 5 writing tips to writing more and having a more productive writing day. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so I can know that you enjoyed it. And hit that subscribe button down below if you'd like to see some more videos from me. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you again later. Bye.